This singer was an underappreciated Afro-American vocalist with a great unique voice whose career was unfortunately cut short. He began as an exponent of the gospel-based blues ballad style, but he adapted effectively to the shifting musical preferences of the 50s, recording some superb rock and roll songs in his final 2 years of life. This musician had two unique personalities. He was not just a great blues shouter, but also a tender blues balladeer. In addition, he was an accomplished songwriter who wrote some of the most memorable R&B songs of the 50s. The centerpiece of today's video is all about Chuck Willis. Before we start, let's be sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and push the notification bell to be sure you won't miss on any more uploads. Now without further ado, let's cue that intro. Born Harold Jerome Willis on January 31st, 1926 in Atlanta, Georgia, Willis resided on Decatur Street, one of the city's black stripes. His early years are murky. In 1954, he told Downbeat that he got his start leading a band at a YMCA adolescent cafeteria. Chuck was found by Zena's daddy Sears, a powerful white DJ on WGST in Atlanta, who introduced him to Oki Records head, Danny Kessler. In 1952, he crashed the national R&B charts for OK with a typically plaintive ballad, My Story.
Nobody knows.
Quickly in Corn on the hit Parade with a gentle cover of Fats Domino. Oh, Going to the River.
I'm going to the river, gonna jump over
And his own, Don't Deceive Me.
town. They say you're tired of me.
And You're Still My Baby.
On away, left me alone.
And the surge in Latin beat, I Feel So Bad in 1954.
So bad, feel like a ball game on a rainy day.
Zena Sears, sort of Willis' manager, in his own words, got Chuck a regular television show that aired for a year, approximately 1953. The next year, Willis created a band headed for several years by Roy Gaines and began touring the Black One Night circuit. Chuck was also an excellent songwriter. The majority of his records are his own tunes, but he has also written for other musicians. During his OK period, there were R&B hits for Ruth Brown with Oh What a Dream.
And I looked around, so disappointed.
The Door Is Still Open for the Cardinals.
Must confess that I
And the Five Keys with Close Your Eyes.
and whisper, tell me you love.
Other artists who recorded his songs include the Clovers, Lula Reed, Floyd Dixon, the Cadillacs, and Margie Day. Willis treated songwriting with meticulous workmanship, and the end product was literary, lyrical, and mournful. He did not introduce a song into the studio until it was a polished product and completely developed in his imagination. He employed several approaches. According to Zena Sears, Willis would drive about in the automobile singing into a reel-to-reel tape recorder. Sears said if he lived, he would have been recognized for his songwriting. Roy Gaines recalled he'd lock up in a hotel room and wouldn't see anyone for 3 to 4 days or a week. When he wrote It's Too Late, he was in his room for a week. Ruth Brown, who toured with Willis, said he would write on yellow legal pads. Brown said, I asked him because he had such a good song going. I said, Chuck, why don't you write me a tune? And he did. He wrote Oh What a Dream. Jerry Wexler said Willis would bring a full set of lyrics into the studio and then work out the arrangements with the band. Zena Sears said, no one helped him with his songs. He always wrote a great deal. Chuck remained with OK until 1956 when Sears introduced him to Jerry Wexler at Atlantic. It was there that Willis realized his full potential. Jesse Stone's arrangements were more creative and marketable than those of Leroy Kirkland at OK. His debut Atlantic 45, The exquisite ballad Too Late reached at number 3 on the R&B charts and is now regarded as a classic.
It's too late, my baby.
This song has been covered by Buddy Holly, Roy Orbison, Charlie Rich, Conway Twitty, and others, but the real breakthrough on Atlantic came with the third single, CC Rider.
See rider, girl, see what you.
Ironically, such an accomplished songwriter should have had his most resounding success with a blues that had been around for over 50 years, but it was Chuck's own idea. Jerry Wexler writes in his autobiography soon after It's Too Late, he proposed to record a standard. I expected something like Body and Soul or Tenderly, but got CC Rider instead and was delighted that Chuck viewed the old Ma Rainey Blues as a standard. The record, featuring a classic sax solo by Gene Barge, topped the R&B charts for 2 weeks in June 1957 and went to number 12 on the pop charts. Betty and Dupree was a similar standard and reached number 15 on the R&B charts and number 33 on the 100 charts.
Lord, Betty told Dupree.
Dick Clark promoted the album as ideal for the promenade, followed by the newest dance fad. That is how Chuck Willis was featured on American Bandstand and dubbed King of the Stroll. He began attending rock and roll package performances and was now sporting a massive turban. He apparently possessed 54 turbans at the time of his passing. The Sheik of the Blues was his other nickname. Meanwhile, his ulcer problems, which had been disrupting his touring schedule since 1955, were exacerbated by his excessive drinking. Because of this, Chuck had to cancel another engagement on American Bandstand in early 1958. The fact that What Am I Living For and Hang Up My Rock and Roll Shoes were two of his last songs recorded during his final session on February 14. 1958 has received much too much attention. Willis developed stomach ulcers for years due to his heavy drinking habits. Willis passed away of peritonitis on April 10, 1958, while undergoing surgery in Chicago. He was 32. His departure was a true tragedy. It might have been avoided if Willis had not postponed the required stomach surgery for so long. His passing occurred while at the peak of his career just after the release of his last single, What Am I Living For?, which peaked at number 9 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts and number 1 on the R&B charts. This song sold over 1 million copies and was awarded a gold disc.
What am I living for if not for you?
Followed by Hang Up My Rock and Roll Shoes, which peaked at number 24 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 9 on the R&B charts.
I hear those blues. That music gotta be that.
Later in 1958, there were chart entries for My Life, which peaked at number 12 on the R&B charts and number 46 on the Billboard Hot 100 charts.
A wonderful life to be lived.
And The Powerful Keeper driving number 19 on the R&B charts.
Baby on my mind.
But the majority of the revenues from these posthumous successes went to the IRS, as Willis passed with unpaid taxes on his band members' paychecks. According to Zena Sears, he paid the band out of his own pocket without ever deducting taxes. When he passed, his wife had the house, she had the fur coats and the Cadillac, but there was no money. Chuck Willis songs have been covered by many artists such as Ruth Brown, Little Richard, Screamin' Jay Hawkins, James Brown, Delaney and Bonnie, Otis Redding, Roy Orbison, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Ted Taylor, Freddie King, Derek and the Dominoes, and the Jerry Garcia Band, Elvis Presley, The Five Keys, Peaches and Herb, and Conway Twitty. Now, before we go, I have a question for you all. What is your favorite song from Chuck Willis?